Good morning, sixth grade. Time for a new lesson for the day. So let's open up our Google Classroom, go up here to classwork, scroll down here to chapter 12. We're doing chapter 12, lesson 5. We are skipping lesson 4. So click on your chapter 12 and you will see your chapter 5 notes here. Now, just so you understand, in these notes, probably down at the bottom also is the chapter 12 lesson 6 notes. So you can skip those. Don't worry about those. We'll be working on those on Monday. So let's take a look here. Chapter 12, lesson 5, volume of prisms. Okay, so we're going to need to know some of our formulas here. Now, remember what a prism is. Okay, a prism has, if we look here, is a three-dimensional shape. A three-dimensional shape with two of the bases on each side with rectangles or some type of a square even that go around the sides. Okay, our faces are what those are called. Okay, so if we look here, we want to know what the formula is for the volume of a prism. So V equals big B times H. Now, what does big B mean? Big B could be different depending on the shape of the prism. The big B is the area of the base. So as we see here, the area of this base looks to be a square. So really our equation for this one here would be V equals side squared times the H, because side squared gives us the area of the base. Over here, if we take a look at this triangular prism, we call it a triangular prism because the bases here are triangles and all the other shapes going around are our rectangles here. So this formula is going to be different. It's still V equals big B over H, but the area of this base, okay, is going to be base times height divided by 2, because that's how we get the area of a triangle. So let's go on down here. It says that the volume is the measure of space occupied by a three-dimensional region. Okay, it is measured in cubic hour units. Now, what I mean by this is that our units are going to be cubed, not the answer, not the numerical answer, but the unit itself, whether it's in our centimeters, our meters, our inches. That unit of measurement there will be cubed. So let's look at some examples here. So if we take a look here, now these ones here are pretty easy, okay? Because really, if you have some type of a rectangular prism or a square prism, really the shortcut is volume equals length times width times height. We're just multiplying all three of these numbers together. But just to show you what I mean, okay? V equals big B times H. But we could say, hey, this here is my base. So this here we could say is my big B if you wanted to. You could say 4.2 times 5, get that answer, and then multiply it times 3. With this one, hey, you could say, you can make it a little bit different. You'll still get this same answer. You can say, hey, my base is down here at the bottom here. 3 times 4.2, that's my big B, and then I'll multiply times the height here. It does not matter with your rectangular prisms or your square prisms. You can just do volume equals length times width times height. So all we really need to do here with this one here is do 3 times 4.2 times 5. So we multiply those together, we get 63. Now, our unit is our centimeters, so we must cube that. So it's 63 centimeters cubed. Okay, same here. Here's a rectangular prism also. Yes, we can go V equals big B times H and say, okay, hey, the base is going to be 16 times 25. Do 16 times 25, and then multiply that times the height, which is 8. Or we can just do length times width times height. Okay, so we can do 8 times 16 times 25, exactly what we have here, which equals 3,200 centimeters cubed. Okay, now down here we have triangular prisms. Okay, so that means that the bases are going to be triangles. Okay, so what we want to look at here, if we take a look at this base here, okay, we have our triangle here at the bottom, triangle at the top. Let's go here with the triangle top. We can see the height of this triangle here is 2. Now we need to figure out what this base is here. Well, if we look directly below, we can see that the same base is at the bottom. So the base is going to be 6. So we have to do 2 times 6 divided by 2. That gives us the area of the base here. Then it says we have to multiply it times the height, which is our 7. So if we go 6 times 2 divided by 2 is 6, because 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then multiply that times the height, which is our 7. Oh, Mr. Spencer made a mistake here. We'll have to change this right here. So we get 42. So our answer is 42 centimeters cubed, okay? Because we are dealing with the volume here, okay? So it's 42 centimeters cubed. So make sure you make that correction there. Okay, let's look over here. Now, this is our base here. This is still a triangular prism, okay? So here's my height of the triangle. Here's my base of the triangle. So now I have my big B. My big B is going to be base times height divided by 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5, okay? So there is my big B. My big B is 5. Now the height of the prism here, okay? The height right here of our prism. Because all they did is they took it, which let's say it was sitting on top of the triangles, and they bent it over to the side, okay? They dropped it onto the side. So we consider this our height of our prism here. So we go 5 times 3 is 15. So the answer is 15 inches cubed for this one here. Okay, good job so far. Let's continue. Let's do some real world applications here. So it says an air conditioner can cool a room with a volume of 1,600 cubic feet. If a room has a height of 8, okay, 8 feet, a length of 16 feet, what's the maximum width of the room? Okay, so think about this. In a room, okay, we're dealing with a rectangular prism here, okay? Here's our room here, not the best room, okay? So do this, and bring this across, okay? This is our room here, okay? It's saying here that, hey, the height of the room is 8. The length of the room is 16, okay? What is this width, our W here? Okay, so we have to work a little bit backwards in this, okay? So we are just going to use volume equals length times width times height. So we know that the volume is 1,600, okay? Equals our length is 16, our width is our W, our height is 8, okay? So 16 times 8 is 128, okay? So right now my equation in condensed form is 1,600 equals 128 W. Now, remember how we have to get W all by itself. What is happening between the 128 and the W? It's being multiplied. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 128. Divide this side by 128. And when I do that, I'm going to get W equals 12.5 feet, not feet squared. This volume here is in our feet squared. I mean, not squared, cubed, feet cubed. So, but this is just in regular feet here because we're just dealing with the width. Okay, let's move on to the next one now. It says, cake batter is poured into a pan that is a rectangular prism. Okay, volume equals length times width times height. Okay, with an 8-inch square base. So you already know what the base is. Okay, if the cake batter occupies 192 cubic inches, what is the height of the batter in the pan? Okay, so we know that the base is a square. So we already know the length is 8, the width is 8, but we do not know the height. Okay, so already also we do know that the volume is 192 inches cubed. Okay, we know the length is 8, we know the width is 8, we do not know what the height is. So we condense this equation down. 8 times 8 is 64. So we get 64h equals 192. Now we have to solve for h, which means what's happening between the 64 and the h? it's being multiplied. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 64. Divide this side by 64. Okay, so 192 divided by 64 is 3. So the height of the pan is going to be 3 inches. Okay, let's look here at the next one. Now we're dealing with composite figures. That means this is a mixture of several different types of prisms. Okay, so if we take a look here, looks like here in A we have a triangular prism, and in B we have a rectangular prism. Okay, so once we find the volume of A and the volume of B, we're going to add them together. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so let's start here with this triangular prism. So as you see here, we have our triangle. Here's our base. Let's pull up our thing here. Here's our base right here of the triangle. And here's our height of the triangle. So in order to find the area of the triangle there, it's going to be base times height divided by 2. So 10 times 2 is 20. Divided by 2 is 10. Okay, so my big B right now is 10. Okay, now what is the height of this prism? So that's going to be this piece here or this piece here. It does not matter at all. But if you look over here, this is 3, which makes this 3, which makes this 3, which makes this 3. So the height of this triangular prism is going to be 3 also. So 10 times 3 is 30. So 30 feet cubed is the volume of A. So now let's go over here to B. So if we look at B, length times width times height. Let's just use that since it's a rectangular prism. So all we're going to have to do to find this volume for B is do 2 times 6 times 3. Well, 2 times 6 is 12, times 3 is 36. So now I have my volume is 30 feet cubed. B, my volume is 36 feet cubed. Add them together, you get 66 feet cubed. Okay, let's look here at the next one here. Okay, we're going to make A our triangular prism here, and B is going to be our rectangular prism down here. So let's start with our triangular prism first. We got to find the area of the base, the big B. Okay, so here's the base of this triangle, and here's the height of this triangle here. So we got to divide it by 2 then. So we take 9 times 9 divided by 2. 81 divided by 2 is 40.5. So the area of this triangle here is 40.5. Now we got to multiply it times the height here. Here's our height, or here's our height. It doesn't matter which one you use. But as you can see, it's going to be 12. Okay, so 40.5 times 12 gives you total a volume here for A of 486 meters cubed. Okay, so we now have that piece there. So now let's look here at the bottom. Okay, it's a rectangular prism. So if we want to, we can just use volume equals length times width times height. So if we take a look here, so we can just go 12 times 9 times 9 is going to give us 972 meters cubed. So now we take those answers there. 486 plus 972 is going to give us a total volume of this entire shape here of 1,458 meters cubed. Okay, guys, that's all that I have today for Chapter 12, Lesson 5, the volume of prisms. Here's your homework down here. Make sure you have a calculator with you when working on that. Page 583 to 585, numbers 7 through 25, the odd ones on that one, 27, 34 through 37 all, and then 39 through 51 odd. Other than that, guys, have a great weekend. If you struggled with some of this, please rewatch the video. If you still have questions, please shoot me an email. Have a great weekend, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.